For the exercise this week, what we're going to do is just create a story map. Create a story map. All you're going to do, submit the link to me. Just show me you know how to make a story map. Show me you know how to put a map in there that you've created or we all created yesterday and do the same exact thing. That's all we're going to do. That's all we're going to do. Okay. So let me just highlight it here because next I want to talk about creating quick capture stuff, and then we'll go from there. So exercise number 5, create a little old story map here. They'll be due Thursday, just worth 10 points. So each of the 5 exercises is worth 10 points. Final projects is worth 50 points, add up to 100. And for the project, all you're going to do is just a presentation, story map on something related to this class here. Maybe it's the drone stuff, maybe it's the GPS stuff. It could be really small, really topical. Show us that you know what you're talking about. Give us some visual products. So if we get audited in 2 years, we can show them like, hey, these are some things that we did. That's the big thing that we did here. But just, something that some tangible product that we can have, and more important that you can have that you can give to future employers and show. All right. So that's about it for exercise 5. Field trip, we're not having class tomorrow because of graduation, but what we're going to work on next is, do we want to break real quick or are we good? All right, let's keep going. Good. All right. All right, because I want to make sure we get this data up and going here. But Monday, what we're going to do is, and I'll post the logistics here, we're going to meet at 9 o'clock over at the state park, or we'll meet at 8:30 right here. Now, I like to leave right at 8:30, so make sure you're here at 8:30 so you don't get left behind, especially if you need a ride, because there might be a couple of us joining us online. I'll post the addresses for these things here, but you can Google Occoneechee Natural Resource Area and figure out how to get there. Hickory Grove Missionary Baptist Church, you can figure out how to get there. My wife can track down her old boyfriend's third wife, new mailman, but she doesn't know how, she can't pick up her prescription or whatever. Same thing with my kids. So we know how to figure these things out. I posted where they are, times and all that other good stuff, especially if you live over there as well. But what we're going to do Monday, and this is the project that I had, we're going to go to this Occoneechee Mountain Natural Area here. Like I said before, you don't have to go, but this is right on Route 85. Dr. McGinn and we drive from Greensboro. So this is the area that we call the, what is that called? Where it splits, or the. Yeah, the split. I was like, it's called something. It's called the split. But this is right where the highway splits. And to the left, you'll see a big radio tower and a kind of an open area there. But this is basically this park right here. And there's a parking area right here. And what I was hoping we could do was, I'll bring my GPS. You'll all bring your GPS. Who has a Samsung? Anyone have Samsung? Okay, cool. A couple Samsungs. I got my iPhone. I'll have and who has iPhones? Good. We got our iPhones. Yeah. And then I'll connect my iPhone to the GPS unit. So I'll have a GPS unit. We'll have a Samsung. We'll have this thing, and then we'll have 4 different ways to capture. And what I was thinking we could do with the park here is just walk this little old loop right here because it's point to point. This is called Chestnut Oak Trail, and it's about 0.9 miles. So this total is like a mile, a little bit more than a mile. If we go walk it, it's point to point. So in theory, the elevation should be the same. But we're going to go out there and collect points. And what we're going to do later, what we're going to do in a little bit is, hey, we're going to go out and set up our streaming services, because what we're going to do, we're just going to walk along and collect points. And then when we come back Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to play, connect the dots. Basically, we're going to go collect the data. We'll play connect the dots so they look nice and pretty. And then we're going to export this stuff to Excel the lat and the long, and we're gonna figure out how long these trails are, because I also wanted to collect the elevation so we can look at the elevation profile attached to these. We'll go walk this trail first, and then the next thing I want to do is I want to go walk up to the overlook. Has anyone ever been there before? There's supposed to be some pretty overlook there, right? Where you kind of walk up a little bit and overlook the Eno River. So what we're going to do here is go from here and just measure all the way up to this trail. So we'll have some vertical profile, because in theory, the first trail, it's going to start and end in the same elevation. In theory. According to this thing, you're not. It'll be really good horizontally. And then we'll stop, and then we'll just go walk, collect the data up at this trail. The one thing that we need, especially in science, is that we need consistency. So we got to make sure you're collecting points, because if we come back later and the person with the Samsung, forgot to collect points, you don't want to go back later with the Samsung, because we were all collecting these at the same time when we were connected to the same groups of satellites. So I get a little bit of emotional about making sure, hey, everything is consistent. The conditions are consistent, especially if you do wet bench work. That's really important, when you do wet bench work. So this is what I plan on, this is what I was hoping we could do. Like, chemistry, biology. You all tell me what wet bench work is. This is the lab work. It's a fancy word that I hear in this building once in a while.
You're doing something with stuff like.
Go ahead.
Materials, polymers, anything of that, lab, biochemistry, biology, cells.
Involving what's in.
Just something that's like not. Yeah, something that's not computational. Yeah.
Okay.
We're really computational here. And hopefully when we do these, at the same time, we're gonna have these points like pop up in the cloud, because we're gonna use quick capture. So we'll go, I want us to get a little practice at just walk a trail around here, making sure you're able to do it. And then from there, you can just add to that set of points, and then we'll just extract out those points you collect. Like, hey, this is the first trail, because quick capture, as you can imagine, doesn't even collect attributes. So you're just going to start collecting points. So I'll figure out the attributes later. So all those circles that I walked, all I did was, all right, I walked from 311 to 315. That was the first set. All right, the next one I walked from 320 to 323. All right, I'll just extract out those points, because we're just going to have a whole bunch of points sitting in the cloud. But the good thing about those points is they're going to have lat, long, elevation, all this information that a lot of times field maps doesn't collect for individual vertices. Because a lot of times with polygons and points, a lot of the times with polygons and lines, what do they care about? They care about the length of the line. They don't care about the individual vertices, because those individual vertices are built into the internal structure of that GDB file instead of being a standalone point itself. I want to collect these points, and what we can do is once we get all these points, we can play connect the dots. Connect the dots using the fixed time, connect them all so we can make a nice pretty trail. Well, if we really need to, we can literally play connect the dots, but those will be easy enough to do. And then we'll park right here, and then we'll walk all the way up to here. And so I'll post the addresses for all these. Like I said before, it's not required because, well, we got people taking these online, and what we'll do is we'll avail these, and then I'll collect it using this. I'll put what we call a GPX file up there, because I've got to download this from the cloud as well. So we'll do this at 9 o'clock. We'll start at 9. So bring some walking shoes. I'm gonna bring some shorts. Everyone will see my kind of really skinny legs here, and but we'll go here first, and then we'll stop for lunch somewhere, Subway or something, whatever people like. Because this is kind of like field work. Field work doesn't really take that long, but it takes long to go through and make sense of the data. Because what are we gonna have? We're gonna have Camille's trails. We're gonna have Will's trails. We're gonna have Philip's trails sitting in there. And then we got to go extract all those things out and start to make some sense of those things. And so we'll do that from 9 to 12. And in the afternoon, I already arranged with the history person. We're going to go to a place called Hickory Grove Missionary Baptist Church. And I'll kind of give a little, this is a largely African-American church. It's kind of in rural Chapel Hill. as you're going out towards my parents' live right there. Yeah, parents live in Snow Camp but going to 54 as you make your way up to 40 that way through Graham. But this is Hickory Grove Missionary Baptist Church. The deacon there is an alum of our department, and his wife was dean of the nursing school until, who was the chancellor when you got here? Helms?
No, it was, what's her face?
No. Oh, Saunders White, okay. The guys right before him was like kind of forced her out, because his wife was the dean of the new nursing school when that building got built. You know, they're older though, they're probably in their 70s now. But this is the cemetery right here. I've already collected imagery of this, but as you can see, this area over here is relatively older. So what we're gonna do is bring our GPR and see if basically people are there, and then we're gonna fly 4 different missions. This is literally about an acre right here, and there's also some graves kind of in this area right here. I don't know how to extract those out, so we'll maybe go and GPS those or something like that. We'll bring the GPS unit.
Do you know how exactly like that area is?
Yes, I think the first people being buried there like 1880s, 1890s. Yeah, and then there's currently people like being buried there, you know, now. But their big concern is they're looking to build new graves over here or up here, and basically digging up remains of people. And then they're also scared of the encroachment of the forest onto the cemetery there, because all the people I met are like my age and older. So most of the people who basically care about it are unfortunately going to be buried there at some point in time in the near future. So they'll be there. So they're really, you know, concerned about that. So I was hoping we could fly 4 different missions. One with true color orthometric, true color oblique, and then we'll do the infrared. Because the infrared, there's typically like field stones and headstones right here, and this is also downhill. So I would imagine over the last 130 years, there's been erosion. So when I did take the GPR, I saw some signatures of like only like 1 to 2 feet. You know, people 1 to 2 feet here. For that places where I knew were graves, they were much deeper. You know, 4 to 6 feet. And so all a GPR does is you just walk along. It sends high frequency signals into the ground, and it returns a parabola where you see it. It has distance attached to it. So hey, at 27 feet along your path, there's something right there. And
Only 4 to 6 feet from the grave, anybody? Why do you bury people 6 feet under?
I don't know.
Useless science. Is it that the animals can't smell it if you dig it up?
Oh,
Not so much a concern now because of modern techniques, but historically, you don't want an animal digging up a dead body and eating your uncle. So 6 foot with what they discovered. This is pretty interesting to me because the then guys, when I go on about Fifth and Row Beach, and every course we play that's all along the coast that we're essentially old plantations, they all have slave graveyards right in the middle of the golf course. Right? Somebody's gone in and surveyed and done, and you know we go check them out because it's pretty interesting. The one we were just on was like 1790. There were people buried. That was their life expectancy. And there's foundations that go down there that keep up the headstones, clean them, keep up the graves. And it's a whole another historical side of using GIS.
Yeah.
To identify all these places.
yeah.
In the literature review, from, you know, cemetery mapping using GIS, a lot of what came up was, you know, how mass graves.
Yeah.
Ritual atrocities that have been committed.
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Well, yeah, we're going to be going in 2 weeks. We're going out to Snow Hill with the dean of the history department who does it. So we're going to go out and look at some Tuscarora, which was a Native American tribe that kind of left, that kind of had kids with the local, children and families with the local area, and looking at some of those graves. And then I went to NCGIS, North Carolina GIS Conference, and got connected with someone out in Morganton, North Carolina. So we're going to go out there, and basically half their cemetery is like mapped, and it's got like the nice GIS of the plots. And the other half, like, I don't know what direction that, the grave is, so we're going to go out there and use our little GPR and help them, as part of it. So that's some really neat applications, because we'll look at the GPR. I'm still trying to learn how to use the GPS part of it, but it's connected to GPS where you can walk along rows and they'll be geo-referenced. So we can start to look at like depth and then like signatures of people at certain depths. So this has got like 3D attached to it. So we can look at signature, signature at 1D, 2D, 3D, 4, not like 6 inches, 12, 18, 24, 30, and so forth and so on. Now the frequency of the GPR we have goes down about 6 feet to look for like archaeological stuff. Sometimes people, sometimes drugs, guns that are buried there, but you can do lower frequency that looks for things like bedrock, maybe 100 feet below. Because what do you think the biggest application of GPR is? It's not really with geography and environmental science. My wife works for telecommunications, and what's that? Close, utilities. Basically, let's look for utilities because we don't want to go and, my wife gets a call. She got a call yesterday out in Clinton, or wherever Clinton is. Where's Clinton? Clinton. They have someone like dug up all the utilities where they were because their maps are old, because we got dudes who are older than me and look like me. They use maps like this, like utility maps like this that are long, obsolete. And this is something I took from my wife's work. And this is what people work off of, but they don't want to use the GIS system. I'm not using that GIS. I want to use that GIS stuff.
My neighbor said that I couldn't pull my car far back, so they had a shallowly buried gas line. So you got any literature on that? I'm in a program where we use ground penetrating radar.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
She was like, no, just told us when they were dating our French.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they would be just trying to use my movements.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if we could.
Yeah, of course you could use that. Yeah. Yeah, no, have those. Yeah, I have you can see in my yard, I've got a 1940s farmhouse, and you can see kind of the bulge there where probably the septic is, and it kind of everything runs off from there. But the GPR, yes, and it'll look for, it looks at these certain frequencies, but we're going to go map this. Obviously, if we're walking along and creating 40 by 40 foot marker, 40 by 40 foot plots with the GPR, we won't be able to map this whole thing here, but I would like to go and at least map this portion right here so we can at least see where some of these things are. We also have permission to go from history department. So the history professor is going to meet us down there, Dr. Johnson, but I don't want to be there like the whole day. I'd like to be there just a couple hours because I think when people drive by, it comes off as, intrusive or whatever, but the people at the cemetery definitely know. And, people, one thing about these is that you need to be really respectful of these folks here because these are kind of like their loved ones and family and other folks. So, a bunch of kids just, me just walking around with a little lawnmower looking thing. I think we need to be understanding of that. So, but we'll go and fly the drone. And then if, I'll also bring the GPS unit. So, hey, if we want to maybe collect some of the information of some of these headstones or potential graves, because some of the graves you also see are depressions where they basically collapsed. And so in these woods right here, maybe we can go and maybe I'll, create a survey 1, 2, 3 of some of the, some of the graves along here. If our signal should be able to get through with the GPS. I'm looking at Kareem. Do you think it'll get through?
I mean, it depends on how high it can.
Okay. The canopy, it's pretty high. It's,
I did somewhat like inside the wood.
Okay, indoors?
Yeah.
Okay.
Inside,
Oh, side, okay.
yeah, inside.
Oh, inside.
Face all over. It was
Okay.
completely optic.
Yeah, and so we'll probably go and do that. And if I connect using the GPS, I can put the GPS right here and then take a picture of it and it'll be right there. And me take a little picture of the headstone and then I can go fill in information. Later. But this cemetery mapping, I think, has really got a lot of potential because And I live right next to a cemetery, I got a house next to a cemetery and it's nice and well kept, but you drive around some of these areas and they don't know where it is. And I think there's lots of potential there because the NCDOT funds NC State to go do this. And I think this is some things here that maybe NC Central should be doing since we're probably a little bit more we should, a little bit more engaged and adept to doing these things. I think we're better designed to do something like this. So I'd like to just highlight some of the good work that we're doing, highlight some of the good work that we're going to be doing on this there. But I don't plan on being there all day. I hopefully be there from about 12:30 or so, 12 o'clock to 2:30, and just go make sure we fly the imagery, go capture a couple pictures, get everyone kind of a little practice. Hey, this is what a grave looks like on the GPR and all those other good things. And then we can maybe mark, I got flags, but I don't think they want flags being put all everywhere. But when you go out and do a real job, you can mark some flags. Hey, this is a grave. There's a headstone right there. And these are down here are all like field stones, like tiny little stones that have long been eroded and weathered away. So it's really kind of some neat stuff right there. So I'll post logistics, but last thing I want us to do today is I want us to go to quick capture. And we're going to create our own points because every single person is going to be capturing the GPS of their trails. So we're going to go to quick capture. Okay. And this includes everyone who wants to join us online as well here. So we're going to go to quick capture. And those of you who are far away, Crystal, if you're really far away, or anyone else, if you're far away, you can just connect. And when we finish these up, I'll connect and put all the data in a place that we can look at it. Now, when I click on quick capture and I go to new project, what does it say? Start from existing layer. Do you have an existing layer to start? Let's make a new one. Okay. Let's make a new one. So how do we make new GIS data layers? We're going to go to arcgis.com and we're going to sign in. So make sure we sign into arcgis.com and we're going to make a brand new point layer called Wells Point Trail Collection or whatever it is so that we can remember it. So we're going to create a brand new editable feature class or feature service so that we can go and edit it. Because before we leave today, I want to make sure everyone can collect a trail and we see it in ArcGIS Online so that when we come back on Monday, we just start walking around and it's like, oh, that's the old trail I collected last Thursday. Let me just work on these trails right here. And then we'll put them in a central repository. Because I think a lot of times people get so worked up with creating the pre-stuff where that I can right mouse click data export, right mouse click. This is my whole life is creating big gigantic points and making these from there. Now, when I click on content, this is all the stuff that I have in my content. Tim's story. You can see I just updated my story. Field mapping results that people were updating. Intercession survey. This is the survey I created yesterday. This is all my content. I can see most of your content, so it's pretty cool. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make a new item. Okay, I can make a new URL tile layer. I don't know what any of this other stuff is. Guess what? I'm going to make a new feature layer. And I'm going to define it. So I'm going to make my own new feature layer and I'm going to define it. Because I don't want to select an existing, I don't want to use a template, I don't want to upload a file. Let's see what we're going to call. What are you going to call your feature layer what's that? Okay, good. That's nice. Okay, what are we going to call it? What's going to be applicable? I'm going to say Mulrooney Trails Field Mapping Class 2025. The one thing we want to make it is a point because when we load it into quick capture, we're going to set those up as streaming points that we collect as we walk. I already tried this as a line and it didn't work, trust me. Okay, because each of those individual vertices don't have elevation stored with those. I practiced a lot on this. Okay, what else? Add GPS metadata fields. Would that be a good idea if we're going out in GP? Of course, yeah. Let's go do this. Enable Z value. Sure, why not? M values, no. Okay. No, we won't do this. You don't have to extract the Z values, but yeah, let's do that. Because in theory, we've got an X, a Y, and we got a Z when we start doing 3D modeling. Are we gonna really do 3D modeling here? Not really, because we're just gonna be collecting elevation as we go along these. Okay, so make sure this is specific for you, because eventually what I'm gonna do is, I'm probably gonna look at all of our class content and just, I'm gonna look for Taylor Trails field mapping or whatever it's called, Monday field, Howell field. And I'm gonna put all these into one place so that I can find them. I can extract those. You know, I can start to do the stuff that I'm good at, because I'm not really all that good at this stuff. Okay, this cloud stuff's all new to me. All right, next. Okay, the title. Do I need categories, tags, summaries? Do we have, you can create a summary. If I really wanted to create a summary, this is for my field mapping class in intercession of 2025. Thank you. And I'm going to click save. So it's going to create this. Where is it creating it? In this magical cloud space, cloud place. That's all we're doing here. So now what we see here is I finished setting up my layer. Doesn't have any terms of use. If I wanted to, who am I going to share it with? Right here. I'm going to click share. Who do I want to share it with? My organization. Good. Do I see any other things here? Let's look at the data. No data, but look at all the attributes it's got. Speed, direction of travel, compass reading, latitude, altitude, PDA. Cool. Okay, visualization, obviously nothing to visualize, but guess what? By the end of class today, you're going to go collect a few points and do that. Usage, how many people have used it? No one. And then settings. Do you want to enable the editing? You bet so. Do you want to keep track of the changes? If you wanted to, that track changer would say, hey, Kareem went and edited yours, you know, Monday and then Wednesday and then Friday. In theory, each of you will be working on your own feature service. So there should be no reason why Mary messing around with Phillips or me messing around with Kareem's. You'll all create your own, and then I'll just kind of go back and say, all right, Kareem was working with the Kareem was working with the iPad, or I was working with the iPhone, because I'm going to work with the GPS unit. Even though I'll be carrying mine around, I'll connect to Bluetooth. So you got your iPhone. So there's some things with a little notebook that I need to keep track of as well. What kind of editing is allowed? Add, yeah, you better want to be able to add points to it. Delete. Update, yeah, I want to delete it just like that 0, 0 point that I'm going to go back to later and delete. You could do that. Update, sure. I want to update the attributes and the geometry. True curves, allow update of true curves. Sure, why not? Okay, yes, I want to keep all this. Do you want to export it? Let's click yes. Just because if Mulroney wants to export it, then Mulroney can export your stuff. when he looks at it later instead of asking you to do it or whatever. And so let's allow it to export just in case, hey, I've added all your stuff right here, and then we did this. And let's click save. Because to me, this stuff's really easy, because we can have this talk to ArcGIS Pro, have this talk to ArcMap. We're actually going out, and I get excited because we're actually creating real world data that's going to be useful to National Park System. This is what I used to do for the military, where, you know, we need to map all the firing points for this area. Here's a point, here's a point, here's a point, It's really boring, but you know, you're actually creating real world data and contributing to the knowledge base instead of just using other people's stuff. All right, now I'm back to arcgis.com, quick capture products. I'm going to start a new project. I'm going to start from an existing data layer. Guess what data layer I've got sitting right up at the top? Mulrooney Trails Field Mapping 2025. This is my brand new layer. These are all the other layers that I've had here. I don't even know what this thing is here, but you can see some of the stuff that was created through survey 1, 2, 3. These are some quick capture points that I was creating. But now I can look for the Will Trails Field Mapping, Emery Fields Trail Mapping. All right, I'm going to create this one. Or I can create a web map if I really wanted to while I'm here. Next. Create. So I'm going to create a brand new project. I'm going to create a brand new web map. Look what I got here. New feature. Is everyone at this point here? Quick catch. Just Google quick catch. Did you sign in? Did you create the one on ArcGIS.com? Oh, okay. Go to ArcGIS.com and create a new one. And I can sit here and help, help some folks out when we're done here. I see Alondra's got it. I see Phil's got it. All right, so we got this new feature. Let's click on the feature. This is what it's going to look like. Now, the one thing, we got the data here. Let's click on data. Is it going to be a single point or is it going to be streaming points? Streaming points, that's the big thing. And that's kind of what I'm really proud of from the summer, because I spent like good part, or not the summer, good part of the winter, like figuring out how can I get these stream. I figured this, someone figured it out for me. Google figured it out for me. Okay, show camera, no. Show map after capture, we can if we want. Look at all the fields that it's capturing though. Compass, receiver name, vertical accuracy, latitude, longitude, altitude. Isn't this all the stuff we want? This is why I did quick capture, because field maps, survey 1, 2, 3 don't do those. Because as we're walking along, in addition to getting a top-down orthometric view, I also want to get a nice little profile map, right? You ever see those on like marathons? You ever see my little Boston Marathon thing that's got a little, profile? I want that too, to see how those profiles change as well between the Samsung, the GPS, my GPX file, and this as well. Okay, so I definitely want to do streaming points, save. And then I want to click on the properties, the general settings. What's my distance threshold mean? What's this mean? The minimum distance traveled from the last captured point or vertex before a new one can be captured applies to capturing streaming points, tracks, or lines or polygons. See, I could have created lines or polygons, but these lines aren't captured as well. And in addition, I want to extract out the vertices, or we'll do some nasty math stuff later, but Excel will do it. All right, do we want it 10 meters, 5 meters? Let's do 5. Okay. So if I'm walking a 1 mile trail, how many points am I going to get? Walking a 1 mile trail at 5 meters, how many points should I get? We got some track people here. What's the mile? You never ran the mile. How many is 4 laps around? 1,600. The 1,600 divided by 5 is. I'm waiting for an answer here. Yeah. 300. We should get about 300 points here. All right. So we should get about 300 points. And when we walk this trail, we should get about 300 points. No, it'll take them instantly. That's the thing. So when it says start collecting, you click start and it'll just start and you just walk and then you stop. That's the difference. And Kareem asked a really good question. Do you have to keep track of the points? No. And when you get the app for quick capture here, we're gonna go out and do quick capture right now. I'm gonna go do my little quick capture myself out front here and walk a little trail and you're gonna see it. You'll see, you just click start and it's gonna have a red flashing button, meaning, hey, I'm going, stop, because in some cases, it's tracking, yes, it's tracking it. Now, it's not gonna track your distance, we're gonna do that a little bit differently, but it's collecting every point as we walk along. Now, I can play connect the dots later and see how far, which is really, and then we can export those things into. You can see I get excited about this. We can export all those points into Excel, and then we can get your set of points versus my set of points versus your set of points, and just run some real descriptive statistics along all of those. What was the average P dot, H dot, total distance, everything that is completely non-spatial, then pop these things onto a map, and then what's the best map? What's the worst map? All that other good stuff. Okay. Now click save. All right, now we've got a quick capture app. Did anyone add the app yet? All right, good. I think I had the directions to add it at one time, right? Quick capture, you sign in. And it works the same exact way. I see Taylor field mapping class, Marcel, Howell, Mundy, Mulrooney. I see all your field mapping classes right here. Cool. Who do you think I'm going to add to mine? I'm going to add the Mulrooney stuff. So add the one that you created. And so now I know whose points are going to be whose. Because just for the heck of it, right here, as we look at this here, if I create a sign-in, guess what type of map I'm going to have up here? Guess what my new projects are sitting here? In my content, look what I got sitting right here. Mulrooney Trails Field Mapping Class. Here's a quick capture. Here's a feature layer and a web map sitting right there that I just created. And so I can go, since I'm an admin, look at all of your content and go do that. So now I've got a Mulrooney field mapping class right here. Those of you looking at it right here, I got a new feature. It's got a GPS accuracy. Guess what I can start doing? I can start walking around collecting points. Oh, I see that. I see these pictures. Do you have this, Camille? Okay. Alondra, you got yours? What's that? Yeah, you just click on it and you start walking. Watch. Yep. Now I'm just walking along right here.
It's not letting me over.
Yeah, click that. No, we're working with quick capture. Quick capture. Yes, this is a different app. Yeah, different app. Yes, or is it ArcGIS? All right. So if you want to go out for maybe 10 minutes, let's walk the trail right here and.
That's it.
Yeah, and you're capturing points. Yeah. No, remove that plus sign. Well, yeah. We're doers. But you've got. Start with systematic. Did you create a new layer? Okay. Right here, because I want to go stuff here. But somehow I'm going to share this stuff now. Yes. If you want.
So we have.
It's the full curriculum. But it's about.
You want to dialogue. Well, I just have to.
Like the whole room.
Yep.
Because you like just. That just found out.
Telling you understand.
It's both tracks, but it's like really different. Normal HTC website looks like, so it looks like Hayden learning about it, right? It's not set up the same.
Now,
Is it the one that you gave us?
like,
Gave us so many.
Didn't look like that.
find your own layer. It's gonna be,
Capture, so, walk the trail.
yes,
Only got,
gonna be a point, we want to go like this, something right, this is wrong. Big. Now guess what?
What's the Quincy ride? It's great.
Yeah, Lexi Valley is definitely that GPS method. Watch. Gonna do the capture project. Still there. And then click on settings here, make sure we can export it. Over here, make sure we're able to share it.
So go to settings and then enable the other stuff.
Sure, we're sharing it. So now what we got here? We're gonna add a new project.
Oh, and also add.
Look what we got. Ready, kills active pass. Well, here, let's create a web map. Please focus on that. Who are you dealing with across campus?
They don't want to let Caitlin Hensley graduate because she filed on accident the exemption paperwork. So some administrative person over there is saying, well, she's not getting a diploma. They're like, no, that paperwork was filed on accident. She thought she had to do it every year. She did last year. So that's what we're doing. Because some admin making a decision based on how they feel.
Let's look on this, look on data,
It goes forward.
streaming. Yep. And then you'll see the red go off. You see that red? You can see the red? Click on that one. Now, you can just start walking. You can see Christie right there, just start walking. Start collecting points. No attributes match.
Do you?
Yeah, and the other is still.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at my email with that.
Ariel forwards the invite to originally to Diana, she would get them in. That's the various. And then. Student program. Say it's on the agenda. And they had to go, no, she's like, what do you mean? All right, that was all her day. So when this is, that first thing she had to do was, and Diana called me at like 7 o'clock. I was like, come Saturday, you won't have a diploma because you didn't defend, but they knew that, but they could still come and we could recognize them.
Who's gonna be the next one in charge?
You,
I
man.
was like, I'm too nice to you. You're too nice too. It's not something like. Let's go to share, top of the overview and share. We click on share. So this is share with organization, so everyone can see it now.
And now I should see it in the quick.
Click on new project. And click on my projects. Click new project.
This is saying, that's mine,
Yeah.
and then I just get the data.
Yeah. And make sure you set stream.
Okay,
Stream. And then just walk around for a little bit.
and get the one.
Get the stream is coming.
So just.
Okay.
Where's the one that you created?
It's in.
Okay.
Just.
Just add that one. Add that one for now. Go on, collect some points.
Yes, sir. All right.
Make sure, I think.
Yeah.
Yep, then bring it up by stuff. I'm gonna go walk.
Only in the last. So.
Yeah. So you guys. Okay.
I can only remember my password.
Oh, I know for me, like the password change, I'm sitting some like, oh, that should be like, like, that's not good for me.
I have one password, man, that's it. I mean, the very quick, now they make you switch it up, so, you know.
Yeah, you do, and then the suggestion password, like, mentioned, like,
I never use that.
No, my wife's the worst, because my wife does something that's happening that day. I mean, seriously, it'd be like December 2025, sunny day, and then a year later, I'm like, when did you change it? I found out. Oh, no, I'm the epitome. If you know my alumni year I graduated, or my dog's name, you gotta know. You gotta figure out the underscore and the numbers attached to it. That's what changes.
Mine is just the number.
Just the numbers?
Keep changing the number.
Yeah.
That's old. That's just trying to keep showing me all my old. What did you just do? How do you guys say? So
Thanks, so we can see.
Oh, yeah, good. That's good to learn something to make mistakes, that's. You see, I gotta change, since streaming, it'll start blinking, saying, hey, I'm streaming. Click on data, click on that thing. Click on data. And stream, because what did you just do? You just collected a point, another, and another.
that makes sense. So.
'Cause what I'm gonna start doing is, I'm gonna start adding all of the stuff that are being added right now.
Okay. Say that.
All right, cool. And if,
Difference between, I sense the data, but these red points and the green points, I think the accuracy here was not that good.
yeah, probably.
Because all this was in green before I sent it.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's fine. I don't. Whatever the question for the project is, it's gonna be yes, so. Okay.
Asking if it's possible for us to do that.
Yes, that would definitely be possible. I would love to see a father-son project. My dad would have loved for me to do a project with him and I just blew him off. And I feel so bad about it now, so.
We still have time.
Yeah, so I don't want to say I require it at the father-son project, so that's that.
We gotta, you know what I never thought about? Fire department connects every building, especially as a fire department. And the fire department, we draw a map by hand, and come out and do it, but what if we had an app where they can come out and that collected, and I was thinking, we do it for Central Campus.
Yeah.
Concept. And then
Yeah, just create a survey 1, 2, 3 of it. You go out, picture of every connection there. It's probably got a serial number, it's probably got a picture attached to it and maybe notes like, hey, it's behind the bush or whatever there. So something like that would be perfect. And then you might just want to do it for this part of campus here, especially if it's a lot bigger. So, yeah, that would be perfect, yeah. And then you pop these onto a web map and a web app and this is for everyone to see on campus. Yeah.
So you see the numbers. Especially for Engine 4, I mean.
Oh, I would love to be part of that, no, but that would be pretty cool because I'm sure those things aren't out there.
Like, right now, it's a map that sits in the car, and on it, the dog, we call it a dog house in the middle of the truck. So really, when you're coming to the campus, you have to pull out the book and flip through, trying to find where the FBC connection is. Or guys walk, whoever's at the station walk the campus, so you kind of have it memorized, but if you're riding a new station,
Okay,
you never know.
that's neat.
So we offers that, there's something we give back.
Yeah.
You know what's the neat about this is you can do it without having a reference point. It will just collect data.
Yeah. Oh.
I remember watching this back on the space. Back in 2010, when Haiti got an earthquake.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They went through up, and they grabbed a lot of people. They installed this software called Ushahidi, and they had people tracking cell phones under the collapsed buildings and houses. And if they found anybody who's fixed it, they will look at the cell phone.
Oh, wow.
And the coordinates to the firefighters. And they go there and they can, grab people still alive. Just from fixing.
So did the ones that I was just walking come up?
Let's see, we got Kareem's here. Where's my lead?
Oh, I just.
Yeah, these are Kareem's, these are mine. All right, let's see. Oh, because you are on the Mulrooney, yes.
So it just doubles your points more or less?
Yeah. That's fine.
Is there any differentiation between stuff?
No, it doesn't look like there's much here.
Cause I just walked out the door, then around to the bus stop, into the car.
Did you do the Mulrooney Trails or intercession field mapping? Which one did you add?
GPS 2025.
Okay, Mulrooney Points. These?
Yes. What says more Rooney points? Go more Rooney GPS 2025.
Yeah, yeah, it added to my points right there, yep. Cool, all right, I like that. That's neat. My content, I'll go to my organization now. Let's see what Camille's doing here.
And then I want enough memory to do it. Mistress is going to be mad. She's going to send me the video footage.
It's all yours, yours are in green. Were you collecting streaming?
Outskirts of the park. I wanted to make sure, I came back just being sure if I was collecting them, because I was like, something is not seen right.
I got a feeling that you might have, I see points here. This is you in green. And did you set it up for streaming?
Yes, I did.
How about every 10 meters? Or 5 meters?
5.
Okay.
Is it not as sparse or is
It-
too close?
It's far apart.
Yeah.
Is this, yeah, this is you here. Okay. You want to check out your settings? Let's see what we got.
Yeah. I was like, I need to, back, it was like, right.
Make sure we click save. Oh, accuracy. Recommended, you got it at 30 meters. That's why it's.
Well, I thought the distance threshold should be 5, so
Yeah.
the accuracy should also be 5.
Oh, no, sorry. Well, let's make sure we click save. It's fresh. We have streaming up.
Yes, we can scroll on the side. Actually, it goes on. Where? Oh. Somewhere. Yes, there it is. I know.
Data.
Data.
Streaming. Okay.
Streaming. Right here. thing is that.
Good, yeah.
What I did say, so when I go around again, I need to make sure that I do it every 5 meters.
No, just click it and let it go. Yep, because all it's gonna do is just,
Go, yeah.
yes.
Okay, I'll go a different way. I'll go
Yeah,
like,
you'll see that red flashing,
yeah.
and that just means we're recording,
Oh,
and then stop recording. So you only have to click it once.
the entire time.
Yes, once to start, once to stop. That's it. Yeah. What kind of phone were you working with, Kareem? Samsung, okay. So I noticed your points in blue, you're at like 82 meters. I'm at 120. Someone else is at 120. 122. 97. So your elevation is, like 100-foot difference. That's pretty neat. Let's see if anyone else has got anything. Let's see if Kevin's got something out there. We got Camille, we got the Fletchers.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you. Oh. See where everyone walks around. Oh, you went the other direction. Oh, wow.
So it got cut off right there.
So why did it get cut off?
So we looked at our phone, it wasn't sending a signal like right there.
Okay.
So that's why it didn't loop all the way.
There's so much.
Oh, yellow word.
Yep, you're the yellow. I'm changing them here. I'm adding all your stuff here onto a single map. And while I'm thinking of it, I'm gonna show a couple of. I'm gonna let I was gonna say Alondra we're not gonna wait for Alondra, so. 'Cause I thought you were like walking way down there, so. Who are we missing here? Kimberly. Okay. Who are we missing in class? Kimberly, I'll add her. I'm going to wait about a minute here. Camille. Oh, already added. Okay.
Here's what.
There we go. Okay. All right. So Phillips.
Should look like.
Okay.
Boxes, dude, they don't look like a PBR.
All the way down.
We're back up. On the stairs. She just was right. She had been moving, but she just walked in.
All right. All right. Last few things I'll mention here. So, a couple things. Make sure when you click the button, since we set streaming, you click the button, you see that red dashing or red blinking. What's that mean? Just don't click it till you're done. These are some of the data that we collected here. So me, I'm in this one. I'm in this orange, but we got the Fletchers here in yellow. We got Camille, you added some new ones, right? Okay, good, but these were your points previously. Previously, we can add some, let's add. Okay, we added some more here. Okay, there we see some more of yours there. We remove here for now. Okay. Okay. All right. We'll have to look at your, but you could go and add your own. You can go to ArcGIS Pro or you can go to, but basically what I'm hoping we're gonna do on Monday is we're gonna get all these. I'm gonna extract out yours and then from there, we can start to analyze these. When I look at these in ArcGIS Pro, it's a little easier to look at these in ArcGIS Pro. You can see I collected 65 points, walking at about 5 meters. I've got speed, direction of travel, compass reading. I've got the INS supplier. And what do I have here? Accuracy, latitude, longitude. If I have a latitude and a longitude, can I calculate the distance between them? Of course I can. Okay. And then most important, I have an altitude because when I clicked on Kareem's points, his altitude was about 20 meters lower than mine, you know, which was, or meters lower than mine, which I thought was kind of interesting because we were walking in the same places right there. The other thing we can do, I think these points have a lot of computational value, probably not as much aesthetic value, meaning that you get enough points there, it gets really crowded. So we can do something called points to line, where I click on input features are going to be my Mulrooney Trails Field Mapping class. I guess this is it right here. Mulrooney Trails Field Mapping class. And I'm going to sort it according to the object ID. Watch what it does here. Uh-oh. That's a pretty funky trail, huh? I didn't walk in that direction. Do you think I was walking? No. Let me do it one more time. But instead of object ID, I'm going to go down to fixed time. More time. It's a difference. Shouldn't the object ID, look what I did. Now, Now, do you think I really walked like that? No, it was probably the GPS was a little off and collected the point. And basically what we want to do is when we walk these trails is go and make a map like this, but compute the points using the lat and long. This is pretty, but it's just, what happens when I right mouse click and open this? How many features are here? One. It's just this feature that has a length attached to it. That's all it is. It's just one feature. The vertices are all sitting in the GDB file that we don't really have access to. Because we created a line. Line what has length? That's it. Okay. So I created this. Now, real quick, why did that first one look really weird? I right mouse click and open because I was just like, hey, let me sort by object ID, right? The first, it just goes from the first to the last. Exactly, might not be in order based on the time. So now watch, object ID 1 was sent at 2:27:38. The next one was 2:27:31, 2:27:24, 2:38:18. So this is the actual time. So it went 3, 2, 1, 15, 14. So these are the object IDs. I don't think there's a pattern, but my best guess, I'm gonna just try something smart, is that these aren't uploaded one at a time. They're uploaded in like packets, I guess. So this is the true time that it was collected at, where that those other things are being just uploaded in packets and don't care about the order. So I might have got that this 15th point first as it's getting uploaded and processed and assigned an object ID in the cloud. Does that sound smart? That's the answer then. But this is the first time I ran it. I did it by object ID and I had all these other things. So what's another thing that elicits order? So now when we create our little trail as a line to make it look nice and pretty, because that's what we looked at. That map looked at that. I think there's a lot of importance in trail mapping in that, I live over in Greensboro, and the northern part of Greensboro is known for being mountain bike trails and hiking trails, like miles of them. And they have markers every quarter mile in case you're, get stuck or something like that. So if those aren't really every quarter mile apart, then, if you're using this thing to measure it versus this thing versus something else, these length of these trails are going to be slightly different. So that's kind of what I'm worried about, or not worried about here. But so does everyone have the idea of this? Just basically make sure if you got streaming, you click go and you stop when you want to stop. Because otherwise, if you're on non-streaming, you got to click point, 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 point. Now, what's the good thing about quick capture? It's really easy to capture points. What's the bad thing? You don't have attributes, right? So you might be going along collecting fire hydrant stuff, but fire hydrant information of all the fire hydrants, but you really want attributes about those. So you need to refer to something like Survey 123 or field maps. This is just to go and capture points, the trail. I can go back later and do all the other things. Probably when I worked for the military, that was the same way. Hey, quick capture point, quick capture point, quick capture point. I'll go back later and say, hey, I remember this is range 2A. And we call it a firing point, and we can assign a geometry, the northings and eastings attached to those, instead of me sitting there, okay, let me go give it attributes. The attributes, it's firing points for everything. These are all firing points. So we just want the location. So when we do surface danger zones to figure out the potential area that we can fire at, those surface danger zones will be slightly different. This versus 10 meters, another 10 meters, another 10 meters. And those are good information, good data to have as well. Yeah. All right, we feel good about this? I'll send logistics for Monday. I'll be here at 8:30. We can meet everyone over there. I'll load up all my equipment and stuff like that and come do what you want to do or able to do. And then eventually what you'll be able to do, I'll have all of our data sitting there. So we'll be looking for the Fletcher and the Taylor and the Marcel and Burnett. We'll be looking for your stuff there. We can export it out to ArcGIS Pro, and then we can start making a real world decisions for this. Because I want to do a paper on this stuff here, because I don't know, I'm good at this stuff. So that's why, but collecting primary data is really important. I think we're lending to that. Crystal, do you have a question?
Yes, sir. I was just wondering, with all these applications, are these like taking place of using the Trimble equipment? Because that's what I'm familiar with.
Yes.
Post processing and the stakeouts and whatnot.
Yes. Well, what we're going to do with this phone is because typically I don't do a lot of post processing, even with my good GPS unit. I can if I want to get it down to like sub-meter. But for now, I don't really bother with that. When I worked for the military, I did bother with that, and that didn't make it any better. But I connect my phone to I'm pointing to nothing. I connect my phone to using Bluetooth to a Trimble or a Geode, and so instead of collecting the data using my phone, I'm doing the same thing, but I'm calling the GPS unit. But I don't do a lot of post processing, and that'll get it from 15 feet down to like half a meter.
Right. So I mean, with well, maybe not so much focusing on the post processing. I guess I'm thinking of the equipment. So my experience is being, setting up all the Trimble equipment as far as like creating your base station and then using the actual controller to collect your points. So is your phone essentially like your controller where you're collecting your points?
Yeah, and you use those controllers typically to get better and better data, because that controller has a known location that it's sending everything to. So that's just to get better location. I'm not too concerned about that. So when you're making lots of money, you can go do all the base stations and all that other good stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I did survey in the military as well, so I'm trying to
what branch? Army, I guess?
Air Force. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
I was an engineering assistant for about 12 years.
That is cool.
Yeah, I use
Yeah,
it. So I'm a little
but-
familiar with this stuff, but I know that the technology is evolving, so I'm trying to catch up with, you know, the
Yeah,
new processes.
I think the thing that would be applicable to you is just integrate, bringing this stuff into these maps right here and have them ready to go.
Okay.
You know, I think creating the data, I think you know, we're just using our phones, but you can use something better and you've used something better. But the integration of this into our online maps, our desktop solutions, I think are, and then we're gonna go through and analyze these, creating pretty things that look like this, I think would be, probably important to you. So
Okay.
we're gonna do it. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Where are you located now, Crystal?
I am in Hampton, Virginia.
Oh, cool. We're done here, so I was just talking to Crystal here, so we're all done here, so we'll see you all on Monday. Be on the lookout for an announcement from me sometime this weekend. I got my daughter's graduation Saturday. I'm gone all day, and then I got graduation here all day tomorrow, so I'll be here tomorrow, so I haven't even checked my email since yesterday, so who knows what's waiting for me there, so.
So you're at 8:30 Monday?
What's that? Yes, here at 8:30 Monday, or I can meet you over there at 9 o'clock, so. And I'll send specifically when we're going and, you know, and then we could just pick lunch, like, hey, let's just stop at Subway somewhere between here and there. I'm not specific. It's on you. Yep, on you guys. 'Cause my wife's gonna get mad because I'm buying lunch, yeah. All right, cool. All right, all set, Crystal?
Yes, sir. Thank you so
All
much.
right, cool. See you later. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye, Dr. Tim.
All right, see you later, Daniel.